GO2CANADA のセミ Looks like we're live. Hello, YouTube people, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls all across the globe. This is VZ Rush, the Japanadian, for another video. 皆さん、こんにちは。VZ Rush, the Japanadian です。よろしくお願いいたします。なので、today I'm here in the city of Montreal, by the way. Well, we're going to be taking a walk together and talk about hopefully something interesting. So today the main topic is addressed to Japanese people and frankly speaking with you outsiders, people outside of Canada. I'm going to be talking about the IEC visa, which is also known as the Work and Holiday visa or the Canada International Experience visa. So I'm going to be sharing with you a couple of things that you need to know hopefully before you apply or when you're applying for a Canada Work and Holiday visa, hopefully so you can have a very good journey when you come here. All right, let's get into it. All right, so we found a great spot here in the shade with Montreal in the background so we can talk about the IEC visa. So I have my phone here that is going to help me to give you all the important notes, hopefully, so I can structure my thoughts and not navigate into unknown territories when recording the video, right? So obviously this is going to be addressed to Japanese citizens willing to come to Canada under the Work and Holiday visa program. Now, before we get into specific stuff, I want to talk about a more general concept. What is the IEC visa? What's the International Experience visa? And what the difference is with the Work and Holiday visa. Not sure if you know about the Work and Holiday visa. It's a program that allows youth between the age of 18 and 35 years old to travel to some key countries, part of the organization, and stay there while having the right to have an employment for a length and time that varies between a year and 3 years, depending on each country's regulations, right? Now that's the Work and Holiday visa. The International Experience visa, or the IEC, is a Canada visa. It's a visa that you can only get for Canada. And in order for you to get a visa or an IEC visa and come to Canada, your country needs to have an agreement with Canada. So this is completely outside of what the Work and Holiday visa legislation or organization is. This is more of what agreement Canada has with each country when it comes to applying for this visa. So it could be from Brazil, for example, which is not part of the Work and Holiday visa subcategory, but that has the right to apply for an IEC visa and come to Canada and live here and work and travel for a fixed amount of time, right? So we'll put that aside. Also, I just wanted to make sure that you guys understand that what we're going to be talking about today is completely going to be outside of the context of the pandemic. Obviously, I'm wearing a mask here, and then we're going through pandemic times. You know, Montreal has been devastated and destroyed with a pandemic with 60,000 cases, which is the reason why I'm wearing a mask right now. But let's be positive, and you know, everything I'm going to be talking about in this video is for the ideal times when the pandemic is going to be over. And please be safe when applying for a Work and Holiday visa. If you can travel, if you can go to another country, please be safe. Make sure you protect yourself and you protect your surroundings so that no more people will get infected and no more people will die because of this pandemic. Now, when it comes to the Japan-specific Work and Holiday visa for the Japanese people willing to come and live in Canada, the description here would be shown to you on the government website. So if you're willing to apply for such a visa, you can only go to the Canada website. I know a lot of people go through agencies. I know a lot of people cannot speak English, cannot communicate with the Canadian government, and have to go through third parties. But the best way for you, and probably the cheapest way for you, would be to go directly through the immigration website, the Canada immigration website, which is cic.gc.ca. I'm going to give you the link down in the description section for you guys to use if you're interested. Now, what it says as a description is that the Work and Holiday category is designed for Japanese citizens who intend to travel to Canada and who wish to find temporary paid employment to help them pay for their trip for up to 12 months. So Japanese citizens only have the right to stay in Canada for up to 12 months under the Work and Holiday visa program. As a Japanese citizen, you may participate in the IEC only once. Obviously, the work and holiday visa is actually a subcategory of the IEC, so you can only be part of it once. This is as per 2019. They haven't updated the website. Obviously now they started a new program which is called the Recognized Organization Visa, which is still under the same category as the IEC, and that gives you, to the best of my knowledge, the right to extend your stay in Canada and to do the same thing as the work and holiday visa for a second year, right? And that's for Japanese citizens. So I'll try to get more information about that, and then if I find anything, I'll paste the link for you guys to use, and if you need more explanation, you'll find it there, right? So to be eligible for the work and holiday visa category, you must be obviously a Japanese citizen. You must have a valid Japanese passport for the duration of your stay in Canada. So your passport needs to be valid. Your work permit in Canada cannot be valid longer than your passport. Okay, so if you come with a passport that's still valid for 6 months, chances are that at the airport they give you a 6 months visa. They'll ask you to extend your passport, go see them, and when you see them, they give you your second part of the visa. And frankly speaking, immigration is really easy to deal with. They're not bad. They're not trying to get you in trouble or create problems for you. They're trying to actually make the process much easier for you to enter the country. So if you run into this kind of trouble, please just talk to them, and then they'll fix it with you. They obviously have a call center that is open 24/7, I believe, and that can help you at any time. So you have to prove you are a resident of Japan when you apply. Obviously, if you're a Japanese citizen, duh. This means you must give either a residential or mailing address in Japan. You have to be between the age of 18 and 30 inclusive. So if you are 30 this year, if you just turned 30, just like I did, and if you were Japanese, of course, you can apply still for the work and holiday visa even at your 30th year, before 31 years old, right? You must have a minimum of $2,500 Canadian. Now, $2,500 Canadian is about 18 man, so 180,000 Japanese yen. Not sure exactly what the conversion rate right now is, but I'm just trying to kind of round it up, right, for you guys understanding, right? And that would be the amount that is needed as a minimum. It's worth to specify that it's the minimum that you need to bring with you to help cover for your expenses in Canada for the first days. Now, you know, considering the cost of living here and how much it costs you to get an accommodation, how much it costs to, you know, pay for your tuition fees if you come here to study English, I would recommend that you bring with you a little bit more than $2,500, just so that you can smoothen the whole entire process, and so that you can maybe enjoy your first days in Canada. You know, while you get to discover the country, why not do it without stress, right? As you could see in my previous video, when I went to Japan, I did take with me $10,000, and then I just spent it in like a couple of weeks while trying to get an apartment, and ended up struggling, and I started to rush into finding a job, which is not something I would advise to do, right? You need to have a health insurance for the duration of your stay. So you can get a private health insurance for the duration of your stay. You can get either a Japanese health insurance or a Canadian one, or an international insurance organization. You may have to present evidence of this insurance when you enter Canada. So they may or may not ask you upon entering the country whether you have insurance or not, right? Not be inadmissible to Canada. Basically, you cannot apply for a work and holiday visa if you have created some trouble here, if you were given an order to leave the country, if you have been repatriated for illegal purposes and stuff like that. You need to have, before departure, a round-trip ticket, or demonstrate that you have the financial resources to purchase a departure ticket at the end of the authorized stay in Canada. So when you arrive here, they'll give you your visa. You have to show them that you have either a return ticket or enough money to prove that you're going to be returning to Japan once your visa is expired. Obviously, this is common sense. Many countries do that. Even Japan does that, just to make sure that you're going to abide by the rules and guidelines that your visa covers, right? And you don't have the right to be accompanied by dependents, so you cannot bring your children, you cannot bring your parents, for example, if they are dependents. and you will need to pay the fees. Now, very interesting, I've already spoken to you about that, but they have a note that say the cost of living varies depending on where you decide to settle in Canada. You have to prepare financially by finding out how much it costs to live in the city and province or territory where you plan to stay. Obviously, we have some provinces in which the cost of living is a little cheaper than others. For example, right now I'm located in Quebec. This province used to be the province that has the best quality of life when it comes to cost of living. Now in 2020, or since 2019, Montreal started to suffer from some sort of crisis, which saw its cost of living pretty much go sky high. Right now the cost of living in Montreal is pretty comparable to Toronto and Vancouver also. So you know, if you want to go to more rural provinces such as Manitoba, Saskatchewan, or maybe New Brunswick, or even any of the territories, or Alberta maybe, you need to make sure you prepare to know at least in advance what the cost of living is going to be. And you got me here, so I will help you at least with some advices at the end of this video to tell you how you can find what the city that you're looking for, and I give you some aspects, some different aspects that you'll find in the 3 biggest cities of this country: Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. Yeah, so so we've covered this. Once you have settled everything, they'll tell you about the fees. All right, so the fee you pay depends on the IEC category you're applying for. If you're applying for the work and holiday visa, the fee is going to be a fee of 153 Canadian dollars, which basically would be about 120 US dollars, maybe ichiman nissen, maybe, not sure. I'm just roughly converting here with my mind. If you need to give biometrics, you will need to pay the biometrics fee when you pay your IEC participation fee. Now, I'm not sure about the legitimacy of this information, but as far as I'm aware, in Japan, for you to apply for a Canada Work and Holiday visa, you need to travel all the way to Tokyo to get your biometrics done. Biometrics is taking a picture of your fingerprints and assign them or attach them to your application to basically identify you, so that the government of Canada knows who you are and has a legitimate proof of your fingerprint. Don't get scared. This happens with all countries. Even myself, before I applied for my Canadian passport, I had to take biometrics so that they are aware of who I am. They know who I am. Work and holiday visa participants would need to pay an open work permit holder fee of $100 Canadian. So $100 Canadian is basically about 8,500 yen gurai. 8,500 yen, so 8,500 Japanese yen to pay for the fee, for the work and holiday visa fee. The other fee that you could pay is the IEC fee, so that if you want to extend your visa after the work and holiday visa, you would have to pay for the IEC fee, under which you'll have the recognized organization visa, and the fee would be $153 for the 2020 season. That's what they have mentioned. They have not updated any more documents or information in regards to that, and that's pretty much it. Now, you have another visa you could apply for, which is called the Young Professional and International Co-op Internship Participation Visa. You don't have to pay any additional fee, but your employer must pay $230 employer compliance fee and submit your offer of employment to the government for you to get that money. Now, for the refunds, the IEC participation fee, open work permit holder fee, and employer compliance fee are refundable. You can get the money back if you withdraw your work permit application before we issue your letter of introduction. So when you apply, there will be a letter of introduction that will be sent out to you. If you cancel your application before they send you that letter, which usually takes about 3 to 5 business weeks, they'll give you the money back. Your employer needs to withdraw their offer of employment before your permit is issued, in which circumstance you will get your refund, and you can also get the money back if your work permit application is rejected. So you're safe. If you're applying for a work and holiday visa and if you're rejected, they give you your money back. We won't take your money, right? How do we process refunds? You don't have to do anything else to get your refunds. Normally you receive it within 8 weeks. Your refund will be issued to the credit card or debit card that you have used to pay for the work and holiday visa. We have mentioned some things here, some .A and .B and .C kind of stuff that I would need to logically explain to you, because it is part of the IEC. So the IEC, International Experience Canada, has multiple visas under it, right? You have the work and holiday visa, which we spoke about. You have the recognized organization visa, which is similar to the work and holiday visa, but that you get when you're sponsored by a third-party agency that is affiliated to the government, right? That has the authority to sponsor you for a visa. And you have another visa which is called the co-op visa, which is another story, which is a different story. Co-op visa is a visa in which you can stay in Canada for any amount of time you want, as long as you would spend half of it studying, going to school and assuming the cost of it, and the other half you would have the right to work. So basically the way it works is you need to apply to study at a school, a college or university. You would need to pay the fees, you pay the cost, you complete your registration, and you undergo the course. You need to pass your exams, and then usually those classes last for anything between 3 months and a year, right? So if you study at school for 3 months and you graduate, the government will give you another 3 months work visa, so you can pretty much get your money back. So you spend money for 3 months, you don't have the right to work. When your 3 months is over, you get a working visa from the government that allows you to work full-time for 3 months, right? If you go to school for 6 months and you graduate, they'll give you a 6-month work permit. And if you go to school for a year and you graduate, the government is going to give you another year with a full-time work permit. Sorry, it's windy. So that's to the best of my knowledge. I was not able to find any information about this on the website. Okay, recycle. All right, so sorry? So your visa was approved, you have received your confirmation letter in the mail. You're now ready to come to Canada. You've got all the money that you need to start with your new life in this country, but you haven't purchased your flight ticket yet, and you don't know which city you want to come to, because you have so many cities to choose from. Canada is a huge country, second largest country in the world, and yeah, that's true that you have many cities to choose from. I'm going to try to uncover the mystery for you and share some of my experiences in a couple of cities that I've lived in here. Now I've lived in Montreal, Toronto, Vancouver and Calgary, so I'll try to share that with you guys. And if you need any more information about other cities, please let me know, and I'll do my best to give you some insights and you know, some more information about that. So we'll start with the largest city of the country, Toronto, in Ontario, the province of Ontario. Now, Toronto is the busiest city of the country. I'm not going to go in too much depth as far as the information I'm going to be giving you, but what I can tell you is kind of surface information. And Toronto is the largest city of the country. Its lifestyle is going to be very similar to what you would experiment or expect to have in Tokyo, right? So it's going to be, you know, busy, vibrant. If you're looking for a job in Toronto, you're pretty much going to be finding that job very quickly. Obviously, the main language in Toronto is English. You will have lots of attractions, lots of activities. If you have hobbies, you will be very happy to be in Toronto, because you can explore your hobbies both in summer, winter, fall, and the spring. So no problem with that. Now, something to keep in mind. well, also Toronto is very close to one of the wonders of the country, Niagara Falls. So it's about I don't want to say crap here, but it's about 2 hours drive from. It's a 2 hours drive from the city of Toronto, maybe ish, 2 hours ish, right? Maybe less, maybe more, right? And so the borders to the United States. You can also cross the borders at that point, at the Niagara Falls point. Obviously, they have Blue Mountains if you want to ski in the winter. Oh yeah, something I wanted to share. Winter in Toronto, obviously just like any other area of the country, winter here is very beautiful to see. The scenery is nice in the winter in Canada. Everything is going to turn white. See what you're looking at behind me here is green and nice, but in the winter it's going to turn white, and the temperature is going to be very cold. So if you're not used to negative temperatures, I advise you to plan accordingly and get some very warm clothes, because the temperature in Toronto dips down to the surroundings of roughly about -15 degrees depending on where you're located in the city. Obviously, the closer you are from a lake, the colder it is, and the further you go, the warmer it gets. It's not going to get as warm as +10, +15 in the winter, no. But let's say if it's -15 by the lake and you go 2 or 3 kilometers away, maybe the temperature would be about -10 or just a couple of degrees difference, right? Still, it does play a huge difference, especially when it's cold, because there's a difference between cold and colder as opposed to warm and warmer, right? So bottom line, Toronto, nice city, vibrant, big, large, similar to Tokyo. Cost of living in Toronto, quite high. Same as in Tokyo, really. Like, it would be very, very similar. Salary in Toronto, not that high. Depending on what you want to do, what kind of job you want to do, you should be expecting about $15 an hour as a minimum to kind of get by and start with your life in Toronto. I've seen some places that offer less, but I believe that right now, legally in Ontario, the salary is at about $15 an hour. So that's minimum, right? And then it goes up from there, right? So it's always positive. Here after Toronto, Montreal, Quebec. So I'm located in Montreal right now. Behind me you have the Lachine Canal, which is located in the southwestern part of Montreal. This area here is an English area in its majority, right? Now, something very important I have to say about Montreal, other than Montreal is very, very, very similar to Toronto in pretty much all categories. It's as vibrant as Toronto, as vivid as Toronto. Nightlife is just as crazy as Toronto. Everything is very similar to Toronto when you compare Montreal to its sister of Ontario, right? The only thing that makes Montreal very, very distinct and unique is the fact that Montreal is located in the province of Quebec. Obviously, if you're not aware, the province of Quebec uses French as its main language of communication, and by definition it makes it mandatory for all cities and communities in the province of Quebec to display all their signs and indications in the French language. So if you are looking to learn English, maybe you need to think about choosing other options, because Montreal is not going to put you in that immersion environment that you want to be in while learning English. On the other hand, and on a more positive note, if you're looking to learn French and you come to Montreal, well, you both have the opportunity to learn French, but not only you will learn French, but you will also be located in North America, which in my opinion is a very great advantage, right? Because life in North America is very good, right? Bottom line, Montreal, very similar to Toronto. Vibrant. Lifestyle here is very cool. Actually, a little funnier than Toronto, because people here are much warm-blooded, right? Winter. Winter in Montreal is similar to Toronto also. Not that similar though. Winter in Montreal is probably the coldest you would experience in the country. Really, I don't want to scare you away from Montreal. Montreal has lots of things to offer if you're interested in this kind of lifestyle here. But in the winter, you should expect temperatures go as low as -40 in Montreal. And the reason why it goes so cold is because in Montreal we have lots of humidity. And so in the summer, our I guess normal temperatures would be around 25 degrees, but then with the humidity it's going to push the temperature even higher in the summer, right? So instead of having 25 degrees, it would be 40 or 36 or something like that, right? In the winter it does the opposite effect, so it could be -5, but with wind chill, which is the humidity, and the winds, obviously, temperature would go all the way down to -30, -40, right? It does not feel like -40 every days of winter. We only have a couple of weeks that are that cold, and it's variable from a year to another. It's really dependent of what the climate situation is and all that stuff. But you should keep in mind that in Montreal you should be expecting temperatures lower than -20, so plan accordingly and get very, very warm clothes, at least to start your first winter in Montreal. Third city, Vancouver, British Columbia. Obviously the city where I live right now, my place of residence. I'm in Montreal right now, enjoying the summer and taking walks and enjoying the weather and everything it has to offer here in the summer. But I'll be back to Vancouver after that. So Vancouver is located all the way out west, the west coast of Canada, and Vancouver is the third largest city of the country. It's located in the province of British Columbia, at the front of the Pacific, the Northern Pacific Ocean. Believe it or not, Vancouver and Yokohama/Tokyo share the same ocean. Coming to Vancouver for the first time, you would probably notice that Vancouver has a huge Asian influence. That could be your comfort zone, and you could love it, right, if you're coming from Asia. As opposed to Montreal, which has a huge influence coming from Europe. We have lots of immigrants coming from Europe to Montreal because they feel home here, because the culture, the architecture, the way of thinking, the mindsets and all that stuff are very similar to the European ones, right? Similarly, in Vancouver, everything is similar to Asia, right? Mainly, Vancouver has a huge history with China and Japan, historically, and you can even find some historical places in Vancouver that would, have, that would have some monuments of those that contributed to the construction of Vancouver and the history of Vancouver, and those people coming from Asia, right? So lifestyle in Vancouver, in my opinion, is the best, because lifestyle in Vancouver is really, it gives me such a balanced life, right? Because Vancouver has a lot of nature, and I love nature. I really love nature. You have the ocean, you have the mountains if you go to North Vancouver, which is the northern part of Vancouver. On the eastern part of Vancouver you also have mountains, and now southern part you have farms, right, and gardens and all that stuff, right? So, if you like to do some biking, Vancouver is a great place for that. If you like to run, Vancouver is also a great place for that. If you want to train for a marathon, Vancouver is the ideal spot for you, right? Because we have hills, we have cliffs, we have gardens, we have mountains, everything you need to have, right? If you like to hike, if you like to, if you're into any of the outdoor stuff, that would be a great spot for you. Not only that, but it actually also offers you a blend of things to do, because Vancouver also has a little bit of that aspect coming from Toronto and Montreal. You have the lifestyle, the nightlife, which is pretty much out there. Granville Street is going to give you lots of great things to discover about Vancouver, because we have all the nightclubs there, some of the best bars in the city, and really fun people to chill with, right? Looking for a job is a little trickier than Montreal and Toronto, simply because I guess salary in Vancouver is a little higher than Montreal and Toronto, and jobs there require a little bit more effort to get. And I don't know, it's just something about Vancouver. I can't really explain that, but it has been quite more difficult than Montreal and Toronto to get a job in Vancouver. But once you get a job in Vancouver, salary is much higher than any of the other cities that I've mentioned, and you will be able to offer yourself a very, very comfortable lifestyle. Obviously, if you come into Canada to learn English, Vancouver is also going to be a great place for you to practice, not only because everybody speaks English in Vancouver and Toronto, by the way, but also because, you know, if you are into the community mindset, if you want to learn English together with your friends, you're coming from Japan, right? And you might meet a lot of international students and people in the same situation as you in Vancouver, because we do have a lot of students and people on working holidays coming to Vancouver to learn English. You might, you know, step by step learn English together, and you know, kind of build some stories together that you can reflect back on when you go back home, right? So that's a great thing about it. So the problem with Vancouver is renting a place, right? Because rentals in Vancouver are quite trickier than Toronto and Montreal, because not only it's expensive, but for the same price that you could purchase, or that you could rent a one-bedroom apartment in Montreal, in Vancouver you can get yourself a den, D-E-N. So a den is pretty much just about the size of a closet, no windows, nothing, and you would just deal with that small space and live there. That would be downtown, location wise it would be great, but boy, do you really want to do that? I mean, if you're satisfied with it, that would be fine. Otherwise, the other options that you have is to do some house sharing, just like many people do in Vancouver. You could rent a room in a big house, and you would have that comfort depending on whether you match with the people living there or not. That's also a great option. If you're looking to get your own apartment, you can do that. It's just going to cost you a little bit more. Plan about $1,600 or $1,800 for that. Just you know, again, numbers coming from direct contact and experience with that kind of stuff. Yeah, otherwise you got nature in Vancouver, you got lifestyle is great, as good as Toronto and Montreal. I mean, good point for Vancouver is really the fact that the weather is probably the best when it comes to the winter, because in winter most of the country will be snowy. It is going to be negative pretty much everywhere, like temperature wise. The temperatures will fall below the 0 mark, except Vancouver. Vancouver usually in the winter has a quite mild weather. Temperatures as cold as maybe, I guess minimum is like 1 degree, and that's at night, that's overnight. You won't even be out there to feel that temperature, but otherwise temperature sticks pretty close to 6-7 Celsius during the daytime in those cold months of January, February, and maybe December. December usually I've seen warmer Decembers, right? I've seen temperatures in December stick to what, 10-12 degrees pretty much every day. Now winters are mild, but it's going to be cloudy. Do not expect lots of sunshine in Vancouver, to be honest with you. In the summer it's nice, but it's not hot. So if you're in Vancouver and during the summer, temperature would be around between 20 and 25 depending on the days. It's going to be warm, but because of the ocean it's going to be kind of just a little windy and fresh, right? So you pretty much won't sweat. If you don't sweat a lot, do not expect to sweat in Vancouver, because it's just going to be a spring-like sort of weather. So in my opinion, I miss hot summers, because I really like hot summers, the kind of summers like you have in Tokyo. Montreal is similar to Tokyo in the summer, but then Vancouver is similar to Tokyo in the winter. And as much as I would like to have both, I can only have Vancouver. And in Vancouver, quite frankly, I'm really satisfied with the lifestyle that we get, with all the nature, all the nice people that you have to meet, all the international stuff that you can get from Vancouver, because you can meet tons of international friends. And yeah, last city here, Calgary, Alberta. which is a city I spent about 6 months there. And Calgary is very close to Vancouver. It's about 1 hour flight from Vancouver. Calgary is the gateway to the Canadian Rockies. I believe by car it's about 45 minutes drive to the Canadian Rockies, the city of Banff, Alberta. Now Calgary, what I can tell you about Calgary that hopefully can stick is the fact that people in Calgary are probably the nicest people I've ever met in Canada. And you know, I haven't experienced other cities in Alberta, but I'm kind of feeling that everyone in Alberta is just as nice as Calgarians. Calgary has the feel of a small town, but it's a large city. So when you go to Calgary, expect people to be extra nice with you and really, you know, really enhance your experience in Canada. Obviously, Calgary also has English as the main kind of language. And Calgary is more of an outdoorsy city, so going to Calgary, you need to kind of get used to mud, right? Get used to the mud, and get used to be out and about and doing outdoorsy stuff, because that province is very large and has surely lots of nature that you can explore. Education-wise, if you want to learn English in Calgary, it is going to be definitely possible. And you will get some of the best teachers that will teach you even you know, things beyond just English, even history of Alberta, and you know, you can learn things about farming. Calgary has lots of farms also, even kangaroo farms, believe it or not. So quality of life in Calgary is, I would say, pretty average. It's great. It's not the best, definitely, but it's great. It's like you could have a comfortable life in Calgary if you choose to be there. Cost of living in Calgary is much lower than the 3 cities that I've mentioned. Since Calgary is a smaller city compared to the other largest cities, I believe the government is trying to populate cities of second grades like Calgary or Winnipeg or even Moncton, New Brunswick, right? So the government's kind of making sure that the price is a little cheaper so that people can go to those cities. Climate-wise in Calgary, the winter is cold. In the winter it could be -10, and then in a matter of half an hour the temperature would go up to 20 degrees, right? 20 Celsius. So it would jump from like -12 to +20 in a matter of like an hour, right? Because in Calgary they have those special clouds that are called the Chinook clouds, which in native language means the snow eater. Those clouds are basically coming from a mass of hot air, and it just goes and surrounds Calgary to bring lots of warmth into that city. Now, I don't know what the scientific aspect of the phenomenon is or what the origin is. You can Google it, or you can do a bit more research about it, but that's all I know. It's called Chinook, and when it comes, it's just lots of clouds, and basically they bring lots of warmth to the city, and all the snow melts, the temperature goes up, and you know, you would be with your Canada Goose jacket, and then you'll end up taking it off and you know, walking with your t-shirts on. So yeah, cost of living in Calgary is much lower than Montreal, Toronto, and Vancouver. And nightlife in Calgary, you shouldn't expect much of a nightlife in Calgary. Calgary has one spot, one street that is called the 17th Avenue, 17th Ave for the locals. It has some action, some things going on. Obviously people like hockey all over the country. If there's a game, if there's a big game going on, you would expect to see lots of people in the bars and local pubs of 17th Ave in Calgary. Otherwise, Calgary is much more of a family-oriented city. Lots of people will spend time with their families at home. If not, they would go out together and stick together in a park or stuff like that. So definitely a little bit more challenging to make friends in Calgary, and you know, I mean, long-term friends, right? Calgary is a little bit less vibrant than Vancouver, the last of the 3, and a little less vivid. I mean, Calgary, you really need to be a nature addict to find your happiness in it. Calgary is really made, in my opinion, for people that know nothing but the outdoors. If you are the kind of city-oriented person, you want to, you know, be close to the city, you want to, you know, hang out with your friends, go for coffee shops and, you know, do shopping and stuff like that, Calgary is definitely not the city for you, right? Calgary is more of a farmer city. People have very conservative values. People are nice, don't get me wrong, they're really nice, but they stick to very conservative values, and you will feel that kind of farmers culture in Calgary. And keep in mind, Calgary is still a very new city, and it's growing as we speak. Even now it's still growing, and one day Calgary will be at the same size of Vancouver, Toronto, or even Montreal, right? So keep us posted. If you know more about Calgary, let us know so we can at least share some more updates here. All right, so that's about it for Calgary. Winter, yeah, as I said, is very cold, but suddenly it could become very hot. And in the summer, have I been in summer? Is hot. Summer is hot in Calgary. I've seen maximums of 26 Celsius, but then Calgary is a very, very dry city. Like really very, very dry. Like keep a bottle of water with you at all time. Really, Calgary is extremely dry, and you combine the heat and the dryness, you are going to suffocate, really. So always stay hydrated when you're in Calgary at all times, even in the winter, to be safe, to stay safe, right? Always keep yourself hydrated to remain safe, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So this is it for today, guys. So we have shared some of or pretty much all the information that I have about the topic of applying for a visa as a Japanese citizen coming to Canada under the International Experience Program, even maybe the co-op program or the student program, what it is that you need to provide Immigration Canada with as far as documents to apply, how much money you can bring with you, and then what to expect before coming to the country, what kind of city you would need to choose, and all that stuff. I hope I've covered most of the areas of interest. I apologize if I haven't covered everything, because it's just so much information. I will try to share as much links and, you know, resources as possible for you guys to take a look at if you're interested. And that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for sticking around. Thank you very much for watching. You have yourself a good day. Cheers.